On today's agenda, we are going training some legs and glutes, and I'm gonna bring you through my full workout. Let's just hope the gym is not super busy so I can record some sets. So before we get into this workout, I just want to give you some tips on growing your glutes. So first of all, you got to be fueling your body. You got to be eating in at least at maintenance, and if you're intermediate to well advanced, you should be eating at a calorie surplus in order to fuel those muscles, to aid recovery. If you're in a constant calorie deficit, you're gonna find it really hard to grow and put on size. So yeah, food is fuel, and don't be afraid to eat. If your aim is to grow the booty, remember to eat, fuel your body, fuel your sessions. Don't be going into the gym starving or starving yourself afterwards. Honestly, if putting on muscle is your goal, you gotta be eating. Second of all, you gotta implement progressive overload. I know it sounds sciencey and quite complicated for anyone that's not really interested in the exercise science of things, but you just got to be doing more week on week. And progressive overload doesn't only come in the form of lifting heavier, it also comes in the form of increasing your rep count, or reducing your rest periods, or improving your form and technique. So there is various forms of progressive overload. Essentially, you just have to be doing more and more as you progress, because our muscles are very good at adapting to the stimulus. So what once worked will soon stop working. An analogy I like to give is, if you take the same route walking, you can't expect to get to a different destination. So same goes with progressive overload and getting results, putting on muscle. If you're doing the same thing every single time, you can't expect to see a different result. And my third tip is to stick to a program for at least 6 to 8 weeks. And putting on muscle takes a long time. But if you're going into the gym with no aim, with no plan, and just jumping from exercise to exercise and switching up your workouts every single week, you're not going to see results. You're not going to give your body enough time to build up that strength in that muscle, allow the muscles to break and recover in order to grow. If you're just going to be changing and using different stimulus every single week, it's not going to work. It's fine if you're just doing it for fun, but if you're here to get results, grow your legs, grow your booty, you got to stick to a program and be consistent with it. So I am beginning my workout with a warm up. I actually walk to the gym, so my body temperature is already elevated and I'm nice and warm. But if it was the case that I was driving to the gym, I would hop onto a cardio machine and do 5 to 10 minutes. Then I'm going into a dynamic warm-up, which consists of full range of motion, explosive movements to prepare you for high force output. The reason for a dynamic warm-up is that you want to activate the muscles that you're going to be working. So we're going to train legs and glutes. So you want to increase the body temperature, which will increase the muscle blood flow and oxygen availability, and potentially reduce any risk of injuries. The first exercise that I'm starting with is a dumbbell stiff leg deadlift. So your starting position wants to be with your feet shoulder width apart, your shoulders back, chest out, looking straight ahead of you. You want to brace your core as if somebody's trying to punch you in the stomach, and slightly bend your knees. Then you're gonna hinge at your hips as if you're trying to press a button at a wall with your glutes. This is an isolation movement, mainly working your hamstrings and your glutes. It's called a pre-exhaust exercise. So I'm making sure I'm firing up my hamstring and glutes before going into my compound movements. I am very quad dominant, so it is quite hard for me to feel most leg movements in other muscle groups than my quads, hence why I would start with an isolation movement. The second exercise is a leg press. So this is a compound movement, meaning that you're working multiple joints and multiple muscles in your lower body. Compound movements are great and give you the biggest bang for your bucks because you're like that. You're working your quads, your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves here. I'm beginning with a warm-up set before I dive into any working sets. The most important thing here with the leg press is that your lower back and your glutes are in full contact with the bench. You also want to make sure that your knees are slightly bent at all times. You don't want to hyperextend your knees. We are then moving on to Bulgarian split squats. These are the devil. I hate them, my clients hate them, everyone hates them, but single leg movements are super important to incorporate into your training routine, especially if you have any imbalances. So we're doing 10 reps on each side. I'm slightly leaning forward, so I'm targeting my glutes more here. If you want to target your quads more, you can be more upright. Moving on to the hip thrust. This is probably the best exercise to grow your glutes and one that a lot of people stay away from, probably because of the setup. But you want to find a bench which is about shoulders blades tall, and you want to grab yourself a barbell pad and position the barbell on your hips. Then you want to have your chin tucked in, looking straight ahead of you, and you want to move the weight up and squeeze your glutes at the top. Please avoid overextending your back. So come up to like a 90-degree angle with like your shins and your body. Next up, we have sumo deadlifts. So with the sumo deadlifts, you want to have a wide stance with your toes pointing outwards. Here I'm using a mixed grip. Just like with the stiff leg deadlifts, you want your shoulders back, chest out, looking straight ahead of you, and you want to brace that core. And you're pulling both with your legs and your full body, so you're thinking of separating the ground beneath you rather than just pulling the weight with your arms. I'm finishing my workout with leg extensions. Here I'm focusing on a much lighter weight and that mind to muscle connection. I want to make sure I'm working my quad muscles as much as I can. I am in full contact with the bench behind me, and I'm giving myself a little pause at the top that really fires up them quads.